Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
I'm Mr. Magazine.
And he didn't turn his phone off.
Oh, who says that? Who says that?
Today we're talking Mr. Magazine, and I had a question for you.
Yes, I'll turn my phone off.
I have a second question for you. How long does it take for you to change your business plan, your overall business, how you're doing things? Like if you're going to implement a new strategy, if you're going to go into a new niche, anything like that, how long does it take to actually be moderately successful with the changes that you make? Say you wanted to do free shipping or take away free shipping. Say you want to go in a new niche. How long and what advice would you give somebody?
Yeah, for me, it's mainly new niches. We're always picking up collections, different stuff. And I give myself as much time as possible, even if it's a month, and never be desperate. Like, we got to get these on. We have so much inventory. Whether I buy a big collection that's, middle of the road, high end, whatever, I spend $100 or $10,000. I always give myself time, and I always follow through it, like eBay, what their policies are. For example, we picked up a huge Playboy collection of signed cards. The guy had 500 different Playmates over 70 years or something like that. I've dealt with them before, but again, you got people selling these on eBay where they show the upper body, some show full frontal, and I don't know the rules. So then we called up eBay, we got the gist of it, and believe it or not, you can sell full frontal in certain categories that have the new drop down, which we didn't know you could do that. We were listing photos because they made it sound like you couldn't, but now all these people are doing it, and they said you can even block out the nudity.
Oh, you're allowed to do that.
Which is another thing, which is amazing, and that's good, but it's one of those things where, we did our due diligence, make sure we're not no violations, but still, we called a week ago, and I told my manager who's going to list them, let's just wait, and when we have a whole day, you guys can start listing them. And after 10 or so listings, then we'll call eBay just to make sure, because we don't want to list 200 of these and then all of a sudden it was a mistake, or they think, it's too risque or whatever.
Or you chose the wrong category even though you thought you had the right one.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where we don't jump into it. We do it slowly. We set let's next Wednesday when we're together, let's get it going. But it's never jump into in case of any mistakes.
Well, and then I guess that's a little different than what I intended my question to be, which is fine because that's a good answer. My question is, how long does it take for results?
Oh, that's a good question. So again, well,
thank you.
Well, I wouldn't expect instant results, but when you're dealing with eBay and you're, once it takes us 3 weeks, hey, we're going to set our goal for, July 21st, and we're going to start listing them. Obviously, we're going to have 7-day auctions and so forth, but we'll start listing more as once we get the green light from eBay. Hey, those are correct. Mm-hmm. We're going to pound them out. We'll pound out photos. We'll pound out cards. And then the more you get on, the money will start flowing in.
See, you're talking 500, correct? In that particular case.
Yeah.
Probably realistically, 500 would take me, if that were all that I was listing. Now, they're similar, so you can list them fairly quickly. Right. But it's going to take me, realistically, 4 to 5 weeks to get them listed.
Right.
And that's if I'm not listing much other stuff.
Right.
I know me well enough to know that I would list like 50, and then I would list other stuff. Then 3 months from now, I'll find them again, and I'll list 50, and then I'll find other stuff.
We're trying to mix it up for, like, my manager lists all the expensive stuff generally, but I told him, I go, one day do sports cards, one day do toys, one day. So you don't get bored either. And then we just started rolling out records onto eBay again, which probably isn't the best time to do this as far as sales, but we're in an area where we got to start listing some records. We're running out of room. So I had this new employee start listing them on Amazon. Say he went through a couple thousand, half aren't on there, but a lot of them are those 12-inch singles. So now we're building them up. Like, don't even try Amazon because it's a very low percentage that they're on there. Now he's pounding them out on eBay, but he can list a lot because it's the same category. Mm-hmm. So he was doing, say, 10 or 12, 15 an hour on Amazon because half of them weren't on there. It was wasting time. Now that you're listing everything on eBay, he's pounding them out. And some are going to be good. I mean, there's a lot of old wrap and stuff in there, but I have thousands of them sitting around. So that's another niche.
Well, but the other side of that, and this is what scares me, you've got many advantages over me. But one big advantage that you have over me is, beyond your manliness and handsomeness, you've got multiple people listing on eBay in multiple different categories, potentially, in any different day.
Sure.
I'm a one-man band. So we'll just say that I got those Playboy cards, for example, and I listed those, and I said, this is all I'm going to list. If for some reason those aren't hot, nobody wants them. Yeah. I'll give a perfect example. I picked up the 132 Scientific American magazines. Yeah. They're not going to fly off the shelf.
Right.
If I were to spend 2 weeks listing those 132 and nothing else, my sales are going to tank short term. Now, long term, of course, I want to make very, very good money on that deal.
Sure.
But short term, the bottom's going to fall out just because of that.
Right.
And that's always a risk, too, when you're listing into a new niche, one that you don't know of, especially with as many items as you and I have.
Sure.
Because let's just say that tomorrow I wound up with a Noritake collection. And I don't know what that is other than glassware. And I'm sure somebody will tell me down below. But I pick, or Fiestaware. I just end up buying, my neighbor is moving and he goes, oh, I heard you sell stuff on eBay. I was a Fiestaware dealer for years. Mm-hmm. And he sells me 50 boxes of Fiestaware. Oh. But he's got it all set up. It's all marked nicely. It's very easy to list. I can say, oh, this is the yellow pattern, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. It's going to take me a while to start selling because nobody knows me for Fiestaware. Right. True. So I've got to build up that category. Yeah. And the reason I was bringing this whole thing up was over the last few weeks, I've actually had okay sales on original art. And if you remember, I started getting into buying original art through Heritage. And since then I've bought it for other places as well, I started doing that in 2020. So it's been about a 3-year process to actually build the category up to where it's standing on its own and I'm making money out of the category. Yeah. And if I do make new purchases of stuff from it, I'm selling enough of the old stuff to cover it. Sure. So it's actually a money-making category for me. Right. But it took 3 years to build it up. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people out there. I know a good friend of the channel, Primetime Treasure Hunter, often, he did a couple of years ago what one of his New Year's resolutions was to try to get a new niche every year. Try to learn a new area, this, that. But again, he's a one-man band, much as I am with a day job, et cetera, et cetera. So I just kind of wanted to kind of say, hey, that is a good idea to try to do, but don't expect immediate results out of it either. And kind of get some ideas as to how long. And
your stuff may not go for as much as the other specialists until you prove yourself.
Until you prove yourself, or until, and another thing that we've talked about on prior videos as well is when I first got into original art, literally all I was doing was copying what Heritage said. Oh, ink over graphite on Bristol board. Okay, that must be what it is. After I've handled enough of it, oh, that's Bristol board. So at this point, from just having handled enough of it, I know a little bit more about all of that as well. Cool. So it's taken a lot of time to learn, and again, 3 years, it's finally a viable category for me. Yeah. So hopefully that helps you a little bit out there, because I know everybody always wants to break out into new niches, whatever it happens to be. I would say unless you get a mother lode holy grail collection, don't expect immediate results about it. It's going to be a slow road to hoe, as they say. But you can definitely get there. Just don't expect everything to fly off the shelves right away. There is a learning curve for it. Again, 3 years, I'm making money off that category, and I'm also looking for it when I'm out and about. So, it's turned into a viable category for me. So 3 years from now, hit the like button and see what I'm selling then.
Take care. Bye-bye.